Hello and you're all very welcome along to the latest Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast in association with Boylesports, Gowran Park Racecourse, EJ Menswear and Shamrock Thoroughbreds.
Lossymouth slowly coming through, takes it up now as they approach the last. Lossymouth at the last, got over it well, landed with 2 lengths, make it 3, tell me something girl, Hispanic Moon behind her, but in the closing stages, a second festival victory. Lossymouth and Poltown end have won the Close Brothers. Second Nergamine, who's cantering to victory as he comes to the last. He's up and over safely, 6 lengths clear. Captain Guinness in second, Editor Duchit in third, Grenadine and Edwardstone just getting over the final fence. Nothing was a match today for Nergamine. He's absolutely bolted up.
If you haven't already, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Champ.ie YouTube channel, as it helps to get horse racing content out there to the wider audience. Barry and Co look forward to discussing your latest hashtag Cheltenham Ante-Post selections in the comment section below. We are on the road to Cheltenham again.
Boylesports. Don't just bet, choose wisely.
Yes, so we're on the road to Cheltenham again. Finally on the road to Cheltenham again. On the series, it's episode number 6 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. And after an extended festive break, we're delighted to be switching things up for the second half of the series. The birth of T.O. Barry Doyle, Davy, of course, into the world over the Christmas period. But finally, there was an SOS out. And we finally got the series back on track. Episode number 6, proudly, I suppose, in association with Gowran Park Racecourse, Boylesports, our betting partner, EJ Menswear, and Shamrock Thoroughbreds. Welcome back to the show, Davy of Racing's Inside Track TV.
Thanks for having me, Barry, and congratulations on the birth of your son.
Let's kick off, Dave. Look, this is obviously, this is our first show back after the festive period, and I was keen to talk with Salvador Monday, because that was last week, of course, in the Moscow Flyer. John Bond, Jubilee Alpha, Lolamba. What a performance by Lolamba. Of course, if Nicky Henderson, stable in cracking form at the moment over the weekend, and Protectorat and Kiss Willard, I suppose, the chosen 6 this week. Dave, you've taken the top 3. Talk to us about John Bond. 4.5 stars, and we're just speaking off air. 17 wins from 20. Lower in the colours of Energamine, but you were never a fan of Energamine, were you, anyway?
I wouldn't say that. A tremendous horse too, but yeah, fabulous performance from John Bond. He's an incredible horse, as you said, 17 from 20, and not forgetting 1 from 1 and point to points when he bolted up in Drumahan before being bought by JP. I suppose the only thing you could knock him for is the 3 defeats have all come at Cheltenham, Barry. That's just the only thing. Like, you read a few things, people try and knock him and that, and I don't know how you can knock him. Like, if you're knocking him, there's no hope for other horses then, really, is there? As you said, 17 from 20 and what? 8 grade 1s over fences, 1 over hurdles, like 9 grade 1s. It's incredible. And I was always of the opinion that maybe he was going to be better when he stepped up and trip. I remember I was lucky enough to be in Nicky Henderson's last year, and I said that to Jerry McGrath. I said, geez, I'd love to see him go to a Ryanair maybe, or stepping up and trip, but you know what? I don't think he needs to.
He's been a great advocate, Dave, for Irish point-to-point racing. Obviously an expensive purchase. Ella Marie Holding. I think on Instagram, I think every time John Bond wins, her Instagram account goes absolutely bananas. But rightly so. Look, I mean, he's been some servant, Dave. An aggressive ride, though, at the weekend by Nico Deviville. I mean, if you're giving him 4.5 stars, I think, in fairness, Nico has to be given full credit, because he really took the bull by the horns, didn't he?
He did, and I'm sure he's excellent on him. Sure, he knows him inside out, and I think he's best off ridden that way aggressively, Barry, you know, because he jumps so well and he goes a good gallop, and he's able to quicken off that as well. You know, he has everything, and he's an incredible horse, and a horse that, you know, credit to Nicky and all his team there. I know Paddy rides him out every day. He's there a long time, and he's always rode this horse, and you know, he was fairly highly strung in the early days, so they've obviously, you know, age has helped them, but as well as that, they obviously did a very good job in keeping him a bit calmer when you see him at the races and that. But look, tremendous horse. I don't know how you can knock a horse like him. To be honest, I hope he wins in Cheltenham and just kind of gets rid of that little monkey on his back there of the 3 defeats being around Cheltenham. I think he will win. I think, if anything, he seems to keep improving, Barry, you know.
But he's ran into, you know, so I was looking at his Cheltenham defeats. I mean, he ran into Constitution Hill in a Supreme Novices Hurdle and a banging form El Fabiolo in an Arkle. So, and we obviously didn't see him last year in the. I actually thought he needed absolutely every yard of the 2.5 miles of the entry, but Nicky's horses weren't. Look, Dave, you're saying about knocking Jambon hands up. I've been one of those, but it's hard not to love him now. He keeps winning, and he seems to be improving. And as you said, he's more a complete package now. I wouldn't be. Look, I suppose the only thing I would say in terms of the champion chase, Energumene, if he did get, you know, bottomless ground, I did say heading into the weekend that I thought on good ground. I mean, his form when there's been good in the ground description actually reads quite well in Energumene. I think the tactics was interesting at the weekend, Jambon going forward. But, you know, Energumene has won 2 champion chases. If it did come up really, really soft, given the record, or the poor record, should I say, of Jambon around Cheltenham, maybe there's reason for each way purposes not to give up or not to throw the Energumene dockets in the bin just yet. But I look forward to being there on the Wednesday, Dave. And there's another horse we're going to discuss later on in the show that will likely be running on the Wednesday at Cheltenham as well. But we'll keep that. We'll save that. Right. Salvador Monday.
I gave him 4 stars, Barry, for the simple reason he did an awful lot wrong and still won. I think that's always good. He didn't jump great, but by listening to interviews afterwards from Paul and from Patrick, jumping's not a worry for them. Obviously, you can't really count the Tipperary run because it was like schooling around at home out in the fields.
In a stronger run race, you'd have to think.
Yeah, stronger run race. You would imagine will help them, but what I'd be confident about with the jumping is they're adamant that that's not a worry, it's not a concern. So you have to take them on that. Patrick and Paul. I think going on, he won't be as keen either. That will help, but it's still a huge step up. And in terms of betting and pricing, I wouldn't be backing him for the Supreme at the price he is, Barry. But going to only just discussing the race, what he did in the Moscow Flyer, I thought it was a very good performance for a horse who did an awful lot wrong, and he still got the job done. It's always a sign of a good horse. Most
impressive part, I thought, was he was shaking up 2 out. And look, he looked beaten for a stride or 2 off the back of the second last. Made a bad mistake, and the way he picked up and lengthened from the back of the last, that was impressive. Because you could argue the others weren't exactly quickening coming down to the last where he was. But he definitely will need to step up. I think going to a Supreme, and he is. I do agree with you. I do think he's a short price, but in terms of the performance, 4 stars. I think that's more than fair. Jub Alpha. Now we were just discussing this mare off air. I saw her debut run for Paul Nicholls over hurdles, her first run over hurdles at Newbury, and she went into the tracker actually on this show. She obviously progressed. We fancied her to win at over the festive period at Taunton, and she did that. And she's won again. She's one going very much in the right direction. She's an engine, Dave.
She has. She's very good. Obviously, as you said, Newbury, they're probably a little bit disappointed with her, but she stepped up from that a month later, and I thought she was very impressive in Taunton. Loved the way she travelled and jumped, and Harry had rode her wide as well. And she was very impressive, and she was very good then in Windsor again at the weekend. Good to see Windsor back jumping as well. But I thought very good, and she probably, well, she does look the best of the mares in across the sea for the mares novice. And something that I heard on Road to Cheltenham, Lydia Hislop said to Ruby Walsh, I thought was interesting. It made me think. Paul Nicholls isn't renowned really for having many mares or good mares at that. And when you think about it, it's true, isn't it? It's interesting.
Yeah, the first performance I'm going to take a look at, Dave, also owned by the Donnellys, this time trained by Nicky Henderson, and Lalamba. 5-star rating. I thought it was a sparkling debut for Nicky Henderson. And Nico, well, the comments afterwards, he's a very, very classy individual. Scopey 4-year-old, similar to Sergino. I think will definitely jump a fence in time. But I thought he was more professional on debut in the UK than what Sergino was last season at Kempton. Jumping was very, very slick. His only mistake was 3 out. And I suppose the bare form Vianney's no bad individual. Used to be trained by Johnny Murta. That was back in third. And the Nicky Henderson runner was given that one £6 on debut in the UK and £10 to the second. So I think the form looks strong enough. And given the fact that it was given weight all around, I thought it was a really good performance. And it's hard not to be impressed. And at the top of the market, I think deserves to be the favourite for the Triumph Hurdle. And I'd say this could be a very, very smart individual, Alamba. So definitely would be on the list for the Triumph Hurdle for myself, high on the list. Protect the Rat. When he's good, Davy, he's very, very good. 4.5-star ratings. Where did they knock the half a point? Probably the fact that he got an easy lead at Windsor, but did reverse the form 20 line lengths with J-Lo from the previous run, and seems to really love bowling along. Jumping's a big, big asset. Does need soft ground, but on his day, he could be underestimated once again for a right air chase because he's going to run in the race. And yeah, on his day, he's very, very good. 7 of his 8 wins have been left-handed. I think it's worth mentioning. But yeah, cutting the ground, if the right air cuts up a little bit, he'd have to have a big, big chance once again. So 4.5 stars for Protect the Rat. And Kiss Will is one I wanted to mention. Look, 3.5 stars. Weak enough race, I thought. But hefty purchase, should I say, from France after finishing second on debut and sole run in France. 280k was forked out by of course, Willie Mullins for the HOS syndicate, and was given an easy lead. Looked a weak race as mentioned, but I was quite impressed, David, what he'd done from the back of the second last. And I think, given Paul Townend's comments afterwards as well, he was surprised the pace that this Kiss Will showed. And I'd say 2 miles, 2.5 miles, that would probably be his trip, but I wouldn't underestimate him up in grade. That's Kiss Will. So not sure what you made of that performance at Fairyhouse, but I thought he was quite smart.
Gowran Park Racecourse, the premier racetrack in the southeast of Ireland, is located on the outskirts of Kilkenny City. Gowran Park is your #1 choice for corporate days out, stag and hen party events, and an overall great local racing experience. Known as the race that stops the county, the famous Gowran Park Chase 2025 takes place on Thursday the 23rd of January. With packed crowds expected once again this January, you can book your early bird tickets online today. Visit gowranpark.ie online, click the link in the Champ.ie podcast video description, or scan the QR code on screen to purchase right now. Eddie and the team look forward to welcoming you to Gowran Park this winter.
150 odds to go, Glengooley, and ain't that a shame from Angels Dawn? Ain't that a shame is going on to win the Gowran Park Days, pulling out every stop from Glengooley.
Yes, and really looking forward to the big day, of course, the Gowran Park Chase 2025 this upcoming Thursday. And stay tuned, of course, tomorrow night on YouTube. What a panel we have lined up, of course. Some big, big names. Patrick Mullins on the Gowran Park preview show. We have Charlie Carter, of course, an All-Ireland hurling medal winner with Kilkenny back in the day, and Breed's Horses, of course, did have a winner at Leopardstown a couple of years ago, 2021, I think, Charlie Carter, the Gowran native. He's joining the show, and we've got, of course, Wexford native Paul Nolan on the show as well, along with a host of special guests such as Father Paddy. We've Kevin O'Ryan joining the show, and lots more. Slippers Madden won the race with number 6 Valverde a couple of seasons ago. So really looking forward to that show, and that should be dropping on YouTube around the 7:30 mark tomorrow night. So stay tuned on YouTube for the Gowran Park preview show 2025. Right, Dave, let's talk tracker horses every week on the show. Of course, building up to the Cheltenham Festival, we like to put a tracker horse into the mix. And I believe you like one in the Gigginstown colours that caught your eye over the festive period.
Yeah, a horse called the Enabler. I think he's a horse. I'm sure he has plenty of entries. He has a couple of entries in the Dublin Racing Festival. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. But I think he could be a horse tailor-made for the Martin Pipe conditional race at the festival on the final day. It's obviously a race that Gordon Elliott loves to target and has a great record in. I think it was a good performance from him in Leopardstown the last day. I think the 2.5 mile trip is ideal for him. Yeah, I think he's a horse who has still a lot of improvement, Barry, and could be off the right mark. But obviously that depends on what he's going to do in the Dublin Racing Festival in one of those graded races.
Yes, and my tracker horses in the green and gold, and we were speaking about the Gowran Park Chase 2025, Dave. But What about the Tayestas Chase 2026? And Verdon Place is the one I'm going to officially put into the tracker after referencing him last week on the show. Did win on the 15th of December and really caught my eye. We're winning a course at Navan off an official rating of 109. Snug performance, came from off the pace, stayed on well up the hill. And a horse that wins at Navan on testing ground, I say, should have no trouble next January. Please God, for Pat Foley in the Goff Tayestas Chase. Look, he's rated 116, should I say, over fences, 120 over hurdles. He'll definitely need, I'd say, another win, possibly 2, to get into next year's renewal. But for a local yard, I thought Verdon Place, watch out for him in a spring handicap. Hopefully he'll go up enough to be getting in off a low weight in the Tayestas next, in January 2026. And that's going to be the official tracker horse for, of course, T. McManus and Pat Foley. Verdon Place, stick it in the tracker. Right, Dave, the big race this week that we are going to take a look at is the Brown Advisory Novices Chase. And the picture probably a little bit more clearer now off the back of, I suppose, the Jukebox Man winning over the Christmas period. And well, didn't do the business over 2 miles. Looks like it will step up and trip Ballyburn. Dancing City, a winner at Punchestown. Atlantic, it says, probably unlikely to go to the race. Imperial Pass, I know it's won at Cheltenham in the past, but will it really go down this route, step up and trip again? And Lecky Watson, unbeaten, 2 from 2 over fences. You did say off air, Dave, I had lots to say about this. Off you go.
Yeah, it's a very intriguing race. Obviously, now it mixes things up a bit, Barry, with the 2.5 race now gone to just a handicap. So I think it's a good thing because Cheltenham has definitely got a little bit diluted over the years. There's too many options for people to spread the horses out, and that's great for the big yards and that. But for fans, you want to see these horses clash with each other. Ballyburn, obviously, I know Sir Gino was unbelievable in Kempton, but he was still obviously a little bit disappointing. Will he run in the Arkle? Don't know. Or if he doesn't, he'll step up and trip. But it's a fair jump to go from 2 mile straight up into 3 mile. So I'd imagine we'll know what's going to happen after the Dublin Racing Festival. Lecky Watson, I thought, has been very good in his 2 starts. He seems like a horse who was very keen before. He's definitely settled. Fences have helped him as well. He jumps very well. He's a big price there. But the horse I like is the Jukebox Man of Ben Paulings. I thought it was unbelievable performance at Christmas in Kempton, and possibly one of the best jumping displays you'll see as well, Barry, in a long time for a novice. He was, of course, just touched off last year in an Albert Bartlett. He did only just get touched off, so he gets 3 mile perfect in Cheltenham. I think he'll be even better this year because, as I mentioned, his jumping is a massive asset. It's incredible. He's one of the best novices there is to jump a fence. Comes from the Point field, of course. He won in Tortulla for James Doyle and was sold for only 70,000 to High Flyer. So it was a good price. I do think he's still improving as well. And he's the one for me in that race, Barry. I just love the way he goes about his business. Rocks on, jumps like a buck, and stays all day.
Is the Albert Bartlett going to be a good clue for the Brown Advisory this season? It so often is. And I suppose looking at the runners, I mean, last year, the Jukebox Man, Stellar Story, Dancing City, they were all up there on the pace. Lecky Watson had to come from off the pace. He was a little bit keen. Didn't get that much cover early on under Brian Hayes. And he looks a different horse, definitely, over fences. And he looks more the finished article. I think he's more of a man now. And he's starting to look like a proper racehorse, Lecky Watson. So I think at a price, double figure still at the moment, Lecky Watson would be my definite pick in the race at an each way. But Ballyburn, I mean, just interesting. And viewers, let us know down below what you think of this one. Because, starting off your campaign over 2 miles and come March, up to 3 miles. I'm not sure if that's an ideal campaign. Look, we saw Fact the File starting off over 2.5, ran over 2.5 then at the Dublin Racing Festival before stepping up for the first time to 3 miles on the racecourse, at least. Obviously, he was a point-to-point winner, but stepping up for the first time to 3 miles in the Brown Advisory last season. It'd just be interesting. I'm not sure it's the ideal campaign, and I just wonder, is he vulnerable still at the price, Ballyburn? Yes, so hello, Barry Doyle from the Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's only horse racing podcast. I'm here with my co-host, David Burns, and we're here in Sligo Town, David, in EJ Menswear, and EJMenswear.com. Fantastic season ahead. EJ has kindly partnered up with us to be the men's fashion partner with Champ.ie for the season. And David, we're suited and booted. You're looking sharp.
Yeah, well, thanks very much. And this fantastic bundle and this outfit we're wearing is costing $2.99. It sets you up beautifully for the racing season ahead, which includes Leopardstown at Christmas, Thyesda's Day at Gowran Park, and of course, if you want to go even bigger, you can get togged out for the Cheltenham and Entry festivals later on in the season.
Absolutely, and of course, check out the Champ.ie podcast right throughout the season, Mondays and Thursdays, and look at the offer, the tailored bundle for the racing season, $2.99, blazer, shirt, chino, socks and shoes. What's not to like, lads? Check out EJMenswear.com to find out all the racing offers. Yes, we have to discuss viewer questions. Get your questions in for next week, of course. But Shane O'Hanlon, thank you very much for your question this week. And a talking point, well, Isabel Sutton, a loyal and really good follower of the show, Dave, has had a little bit of a go at me on John Bonn and reckons that John Bonn is probably in the top 3 that Isabel has ever seen over 2 miles. It's a big, big call. But let's discuss Shane's, of course, question. And he says, well, lads, question on the champion chase. If the ground was soft on the day, who does Paul Townend ride, an Ergamine or Gaelic Warrior? And can either of them beat John Bonn in the champion chase, Dave?
I think if the ground was soft, I think if either of them could beat John Bonn, it would be Gaelic Warrior.
Don't forget, Davy, and Ergamine was beaten in 2 Clarence House chases before bouncing back at the Cheltenham Festival and going on to win. So he's a very lightly raced 11-year-old. We said that in the week, of course. I think he's only had 16 starts. John Bonn had 3 more starts in his career on the racecourse heading into the Clarence House. So, he's a lightly raced 11-year-olds. Like people like to throw the age at an Ergamine. And I just wonder, not saying the tactics was wrong, but John Bonn really bounced out, was given an aggressive ride on softer ground. If it was softer, heavy ground, I think Paul would stick with an Ergamine. I mean, Gaelic Warrior, to me, still has it all to prove in open company. And even though an Ergamine was beaten by 6.5 lengths at the weekend, it was actually a good run. He ran well behind John Bonn, who on that day, to be fair, looked unbeatable. He was very, very good, John Bonn. And as we say, he's unbeaten away from Cheltenham. So don't throw it in the bin just yet. I think an Ergamine, Shane, to answer your question, I think Paul will stick. He'll stay loyal to an Ergamine. A lot will depend, obviously, on how Gaelic Warrior runs at the Dublin Racing Festival. At this moment in time, I reckon he'll be on Tony Bloom's runner in the champion chase.
Boylesports. Don't just bet. Choose wisely.
Yes, now it's time to put our money where our mouth is. It's Ante-Post selection time. Episode number 6. Let us know your selections down below. Continue to update your portfolio. This is our first episode of the new year. And Davy Boland, now it's time to put the money where the mouth is. You've given a couple of good selections on this show in the past, but your first selection of the series, what have you gone with?
Romeo Coolio.
Oh, lovely. I know you love him.
I think 8-1. Okay. Yeah, I think he's way overpriced, Barry. I think it's a huge price. He's by far the best novice in Ireland or England at the minute. No, we spoke about Salvador Monday earlier, but like, Jesus, we only one horse I'd be picking. This is a horse I'm very fond of. He won a point-to-point at Belclare for Doyle on debut, son of Cave Tower, and then was sold to Gordon Elliott and Mouse O'Ryan Bottom for quite a lot of money.
Gorgeous looking horse, Dave, isn't he?
Yeah, massive. He's gorgeous. Real staying 2-miler. And I'm never one to pick or knock or anything, but I think if Sam Ewing could do it again in the Royal Bond, I think he would have rode him differently. I don't think he would have let the pace being slowed down up in front of him. And I think that that's the reason why they rode him the way they did in Leopardstown at Christmas then, which I thought was a great performance. Don't be surprised that when he goes chasing next year that you see him stepping up in trip. And very, very exciting. He's one of those, whatever he does is the typical cliche of what he does over hurdles is a bonus. But I think his performance the last day was excellent. He's by far definitely the best novice there is at the moment, and hopefully he wins again. For two great lads who own him, KTDA Racing, in the Dublin Racing Festival, as he did at Christmas, and I think he will do it again. And I think in Cheltenham is no issue to him. We've seen him; he was second in the champion bumper last year at a huge price. I don't know why he drifted so much on the day. Obviously, then he had a poor run in Punchestown, but this is a very, very exciting horse. This is a horse who I think is going to win big races over fences next year. But for me, I think he'll win Dublin Racing Festival, and I think he'll win the Supreme Novices. And I actually didn't know what price he was, Barry. Only now you're putting up odds 6-1, enhanced 8-1. I think it's an unbelievable price. Absolutely massive price. If anything, it's an unbelievable each way price because he won't be out of the first three. Now, I do have to admit I lost a lot of money on him in the Royal Bond. I did.
I saw the docket, Dave. I saw the docket.
I lumped on. I just thought this lad is a steering job. And I got some of it back at Christmas. I wasn't as ballsy at Christmas, but there you go. But no, I love this horse. I love everything about him. I thought his performance at Christmas was excellent. I thought Sam was brilliant on him. Just, really positive on him, and I think that suits him. He's excellent to jump as well, and you need that. And for the Supreme, he's a staying type as well. It's not all about speed.
Look, let's get on with it. Lecky Watson. Going to keep the faith and look for the for Lara Byrne and the lads, the Cityville Syndicate. I think this horse is becoming more of a man. And we mentioned unbeaten, 2 from 2 over the larger obstacles. I put him up on this series, Dave, last year for the Albert Bartlett novices hurdle. And as I mentioned, I didn't think he got cover early. I thought the race, if you look at the result, it favoured those who were up there on the pace. And look at his overall form, I suppose. Look, he was fourth in the champion bumper. Factifile was in that contest, finished second. Dream to Share won the champion bumper. So he has a nice bit of experience. He's a nice blend of, I suppose, speed and stamina. But I think he is all stamina. When you see this horse going up to 3 miles plus over fences, you're going to see an even better horse. I'm convinced of that. And Willie Mullins, I suppose, has won the Brown Advisory twice in the last 4 years. He jumps well. You made reference to that, Dave. How he's taken to the bigger obstacles. He seems to be ground versatile as well. And look, he's absolutely trounced down memory lane. Now, I know a lot of people have said that, the second and the third at Punchestown, keep an eye out on them for spring handicaps. But nonetheless, it was a trip plenty short for Lecky Watson, I thought, 2 mile 3 around Punchestown. He's beaten the Supreme Novice Hurdle winner over fences, Slade Steele, who has been disappointed, I think, over the larger obstacles, but he's dispatched to him at Naas on first start. And as mentioned, different tactics this season. He's settling better. There's no hood so far this season. 16-1. I think it's an absolutely massive price. Speaking of there, Dave, prior to the show, I think you're very much in agreement.
Yeah, not often do we agree, Barry, to be fair, but I would agree with you. Very taken performance on debut over fences and Naas, and thought he was excellent the last day then as well. And like you said, he's definitely settled down quite a lot, whether it's just fences or it's just growing up a little bit into himself or whatever. But he's certainly a better chaser than hurdler, and I think he could be one of those horses just tailor made, that 3 mile, what we call the RSA. I think he's one of those horses, and massive price. Because there's a few of those as well, Barry, the Willie horses, they won't run, So if you're wanting a little bit early value, he's certainly a fantastic price each way he is for the Brown Advisory.
Not sure what the comments were from Willie or Paul afterwards, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes straight to the festival as well. I wouldn't say he needs to, the way he jumps, his experience over in all codes, in bumpers, over hurdles, and now over fences. He's had plenty of racing experience now, and I wouldn't say they'd be totally afraid to go straight to the Cheltenham Festival, to the Brown Advisory. So let's hope for a big Wednesday. Energumen to win the champion chase, and Lecky Watson to win the Brown Advisory, Dave. I'll be in Cheltenham on the Wednesday, so look forward to catching up with you then. I'm sure we'll see each other a lot more before Cheltenham. But look, it's been an absolute pleasure, Dave, having you on episode 6 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. Not your first rodeo when it comes to this show, but it's always great to have. And look, I suppose from your perspective, doing great work at the moment with Tats Cheltenham. Tell us about that, I suppose, and lots of really good content over on your channel as well for viewers who want to see all about the point-to-point graduates.
Yeah, the last few weeks have been quiet, Barry, in terms of point-to-point, and obviously Christmas takes a break, and it came back then in Drummahan on the 30th of December, where we've seen James Doyle had a clean sweep of the 4-year-old maidens. 2 of those horses go to the Cheltenham sale, Tattersall's Cheltenham sale on Saturday, after Trials Day. Of course, hopefully we'll see Constitution Hill there, so I'll be there for that. Tattersall's have come on board as a sponsor, and I suppose we kind of work hand in hand. I'm majority at point-to-points every weekend, and they're basically selling the point-to-pointers as stores through their Derby sale, and then obviously they sell them with the sales that they have at Cheltenham. So good sale on this Saturday, and of course in 2 weeks' time then it all really kicks off a point-to-points, Barry, as the 4-year-old maiden starts, which is the weekend of the Dublin Racing Festival. On that Sunday you have Tallow, Bell Harbour, and of course a local point-to-point, Ballinabula, which of course we've seen Envoy Allen win the 2.5 mile 4-year-old maiden there a number of years ago.
We look forward to doing a lot more collaboration, Dave. We have been in touch about potential work that we can do together. So we look forward to that in the future, and wish you all the best for the remainder of the season and the partnership, of course, with Tats Cheltenham. That has been episode number 6 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge, as mentioned. Going to really freshen things up now on the channel, heading towards Cheltenham with a different guest on this series every single week. Just to recap finally, of the, I suppose, selections on the series thus far. My portfolio, Dave, you might throw in a comment or two here. Look, 16 to 1 Stanley. Throw that one in the bin, I'd say. And Energumen 11 to 1. Look, that's still somewhat live. I know you like the big Westerner, Dave. 25 to 1 for the Albert Bartlett. I think it's a really good price off the back of course, her win at Punchestown. She won at Limerick, and she's a short price now for the Bartlett. Goes straight to the race. Birdie or bust, 25 to 1 for the Mayor's Chase. I'd say Grand Annual is probably more likely. Lost him out. In my view, don't give up on her. I just don't think she rose a gallop really at Kempton. I don't think that was the real Lassie. Caroline Bamboo, just to see where we see her again. She placed on her first start at Naas. Looked at a deep enough race actually at Naas, and look, 18 to 1. I'm not giving up on that just yet. And Lecky Watson 16 to 1. You put in Romeo Coolio, Only by Night, Hello Neighbour, Tiapu, and Energumen and Jalan Dadari, all put up by Bryan in the first half of the series. The portfolio, that is our portfolio for the show. Make sure to update yours in the comment section below. And Dave has mentioned the wise old sage of the southeast of Ireland. It was great having you on the show. That has been episode number 6. And we look forward to seeing you at Tayestes Day and seeing all our viewers next week.
From Dundalk to Longchamp, from the Galway races to the Breeders' Cup, Shamrock Thoroughbreds have taken owners all over the world.
Tiger Bell in front, holds them. Late on the scene is Dawn Charger storming home, but Tiger Bell in front and won.
Coming through the centre, Laugh a Minute with a strong challenge, and it's Laugh a Minute who goes on in the closing stages to win by like the Laugh a Minute from Fiscal Roots.
But it's Harry's Bar repelling the late challenge of the stable companion Dream today, and Harry's Bar makes it 6-course win.
Check out shamrockthoroughbreds.com or click the link in the Champ.ie podcast video description to learn more about new racehorse ownership opportunities.